welcome back
to the actor's work.
to the inside the actor's studio.
Yeah.
You don't have 30,000 cards like James Lipton.
No, and one of the funniest memes I saw today was this kid walking down the street and they go, Christian Bale has lost 40 years to play his next role. Anyway.
So do you know what James Lipton did when he was much younger? Because James Lipton's like 90-something years old.
Did he give the name to the famous tea? Obviously not, because the tea's like...
Yes. No, James Lipton was a pimp. I'm not making this up. He was a pimp in France. And you know what else is going on in France right now? Women's World Cup. So let's get into that.
That's impressive, Jake.
As I was saying it, I was like, oh, I can segue this back to the World Cup. I think I did a good job.
I know,
but now the viewers, there's a bunch of people on YouTube who are like, holy shit, let me look up James Lipton. That's 100% a true fact. We can discuss that later, and feel free to look that up. But yeah, so Women's World Cup...
As they say in the video of Old Town Road, I am flabbergasted.
Right. James Lipton really was a French pimp back in like the 40s or something. It's something insane like that.
Because I found out that Neil deGrasse Tyson used to be a wrestler. And
yeah, he's like jacked.
He's jacked.
Yeah.
He has the fro. He's wearing spandex.
Yeah.
So you're saying flat, motherfucker.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway.
Billions and billions of takedowns. Well, that was more Carl Sagan. But anyway,
Speaking of which, I'm lending a jacket to a man who almost punched Carl Sagan in the face once, but that's a different video.
Dale?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's get back to beer.
Let's claw this back on track.
And it's going to get so derailed so quickly because I'm such an idiot. So, while purchasing the beers for our Women's World Cup series, I went into it, and Roland told me earlier in the day, he's like, hey, I bought a Pilsner for the U.S. I go to U.S. Pilsner. I was like, all right, cool. I need to get the other three. It's England, which very pivotal to this point, Netherlands, and Sweden. And I was like, fuck, Netherlands and Sweden are going to be
This is literally like colonialism.
Right. I'm like, this is going to be really, really difficult. Google it, Netherlands, Grolsch. I'm like, duh, Grolsch. So I was like, let's do Grolsch. Because we've done Heineken before on the show. So I was like, pick up Grolsch. Then I'm like, all right, let's look up. They threw one, I can't remember it. They threw one Swedish beer out there. And I was like, sweet, I see it. And I pick it up and it's like, brewed in Germany. I'm like, what the fuck? Come on. So, so the Swedish one, I went back. But I quickly saw British style, let's get into it. I saw Brewdog, Punk IPA. This one says Postmodern Classic. On the box, it says British style IPA. And I was like, sweet, easy. We don't have to go with like Boddingtons or Newcastle. We don't have to go with like a standard thing. Like we can get a real, like we're gonna make this work. It's gonna be unique. It's gonna be fun. And then I started looking it up. And well, first I go to look it up. And I open the bag and I look at it, and it says, I think it says brewed in Scotland. No, it says made in Scotland, brewed in Ohio. And I was like, fuck my life, I made a mistake. So, I was like,
Well, the typical North American who's like, yeah, Scotland's in England, right?
Well, Scotland's in the UK. But that's what I'm saying, like, it's
England, Scotland, Wales
right.
have their own separate teams.
Exactly. Which is so frustrating. So, because England is the one that won.
People get so confused, but it's like they are three separate countries.
Yeah.
And they're part of a union.
A union, right. So, wasn't there some I could be completely speaking out of my ass. Wasn't there controversy because Scotland wanted to remain part of the EU and the rest of...
Yes, and I mean that's.
I'm not going to get wrong, right?
Scotland actually voted to leave the
that I remember.
United Kingdom, and they they failed, but it wasn't by like a ridiculous margin. But now they're like, we're going to try this thing again. We're going to leave the United Kingdom because we want to remain part of the EU.
Right.
Whereas the EU has certain entry requirements, and like the Scotland doesn't meet them. So
interesting. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, Scotland's national animal is a unicorn, right?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, and they have a dragon on their
Because that's
flag.
why you have the Lion and the Unicorn. It's the Lion of England and the Unicorn of Scotland.
Interesting.
And Wales.
What is
is
the
dragon.
Lion of England? Like, where is that? Is that like a Richard the Lionheart thing?
It 100% is.
Okay. I literally only know that because of the Robin Hood Disney cartoon.
Oh, what about Robin Hood Men of Thieves?
You talking about the Mel? I must say Mel Gibson, the Mel Brooks one. Then that's
No.
Robin Hood Men in Tights. You're talking
I'm
about
talking
Kevin,
to Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner,
Don't wash
Morgan
your
Freeman.
mouth out, young man.
Listen,
It's like, I am Richard the Lionheart. I'm Sean Connery. Do you have any idea how much fucking money I'm getting? for this?
I've never seen that one.
You've never seen Robin Hood Prince of Thieves?
I've never seen the Kevin Costner Robin Hood. Kevin Costner is not my Robin Hood. You know who is my Robin Hood?
Harry Ellis.
No.
The Fox.
No. Even older.
Errol Flynn.
Errol Flynn, that's right. I loved that fucking movie. I watched it every Passover with my grandfather.
That is a great movie, and Errol Flynn also was a charming.
And Errol Flynn is a terrible human being.
Yeah, he would fucking anything that moves.
He got accused of rape and then named his autobiography In Like Me.
Yeah, because it was
That's
in like
insane!
Flynn. And literally what they did is like, it was so weird because Fatty Arbuckle got accused of
Raping an
of
underage
rape,
girl.
an
Yeah.
underage girl, which I don't believe he did, and he got
Yeah.
like his career got ended.
Yeah.
Whereas Errol Flynn got accused of
Right.
having sex with underage girls, and he was like, "Well, look at them, wouldn't you?"
It's
And it was
insane.
that was his literal defense.
No, I know.
It was
It's-
like an episode of Archer.
Yeah, Errol Flynn was literally Archer. Errol
Yeah.
Flynn is like, when people are like, well, she had it coming, she was wearing a bathrobe. Like, that was literally Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn literally said shit like that.
But he was so fucking charming. He'd be like,
This is
Sasha,
not...
well,
Anyway.
I mean, look at those two girls.
Yeah.
I know they're only 14, but wouldn't you fuck them? And everyone in the jury was
was
like,
literally like,
well, you know what? He makes a convincing
right.
point.
Errol, I imagine Errol Flynn's court case was like the court case on How I Met Your Mother, where like the really like hunky lawyer would like keep bending over to pick up his pen. That was Errol Flynn in court. Anyway, so we're gonna do two. There's no transition to this. We're just gonna go. So after driving to 3 different liquor stores, I also went to I went with Boddington's just so we
Yep.
could say we had.
Okay, so that's your second one.
So this is the second one. So we're gonna do. I guess we'll do these, and then we'll move on to the.
I suggest. Oh no, yeah. Which one do you want to start with? Yeah. that
Let's
one.
do the.
So I'm
Oh,
interested
I-
by this because it says British style IPA. So you think American style IPA? You think someone holds you down and shoves a fistful of hops in your mouth,
Right. So I was gonna say there's 2 differences. One,
and if you're lucky, it's your mouth.
right. British IPAs typically have less hops,
Yeah.
and they also use a different kind of hops. They use more aromatic hops versus bitter hops.
Yeah.
So there you go. I completely fucking missed that. Holy shit. Ugh.
I swear we've only done 2.
I know, we only did 2 in this video.
So this has got a very vibrant head. This is interesting.
Okay.
It's a little cloudy. It's the
Sounds
light
like an
color.
armpit.
So to me, if you showed me this
Yeah.
and you said that's an American IPA, I believe it. So
Yeah. Oh, this is super cloudy.
it's very hoppy.
Yeah.
Not in a, like nasty. Sometimes I smell them and I'm like, dude, but
It's interesting. It's not a huge. As I'm saying that, I was like, it's not a huge hop taste, and then I like made it.
no,
face.
it is literally like that. It's like it's not
Yeah.
a huge. Holy shit.
Yeah, it like really smacks you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when somebody.
Holds you down and is like, you like hops, really?
I remember. It's like 2 years ago. We went out for a
I
friend's
feel
birthday.
like with the 13-year-old girls, this is the Errol Flynn.
Yeah, this is the,
hops.
right. Exactly. Yeah. I just was picking up my pen. So 2 years ago, we were out at a call it a bar, pub type of establishment for a friend's birthday, and I had the hottest. I asked for the hottest sauce on the side just so I could like taste it, and I was like, "This is fucking ridiculous." And then Tina was like, "Oh, don't be, like don't chicken out," and basically like drank it. She's like, "This isn't that bad," and I was like, "Give it a second." And then she started crying. That's how I felt with the hops on this. I was like, "It's not that." So anyway.
I mean, out of like American IPAs that I've had, this is not in any way bad, but it's interesting that people there at like what is it, Brewdog, were like,
Brewdog. Well, I think.
yeah, this is British style.
Well, I think what happened with Brewdog is they used. I think what they used like hops from around the world, from what I was reading. So I think that was kind of their like.
Yeah.
They tried using different hops that are typically, and I'm not like a hop master, so I don't really know.
If you were, that would be your unique name.
It'd be a very hop master. Hop master would be like my DJ name, like Hop Master B. Yeah. So let's get into Boddingtons.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as it goes with Brewdog, it's like as an American IPA goes, it's not bad. I mean, it's not IPA is not my style, but it's like.
It's making a weird sound.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. Let me.
Do you know why?
This. Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Because this has a widget in it. Boddington's is famous for being super smooth.
Okay.
Unlike Brandon pouring it.
Hey, you exploded on the first one, so I don't want to hear it.
True. Yeah, but I didn't get it on the bear.
Fair enough.
Quotes taken out of context. So yes, it has a.
I didn't explode my load on the bear.
It doesn't have a. So Boddington's is famous for having a widget. It's called the widget inside it that releases nitrogen, which is it's a nitro beer.
Okay.
So for me,
Interesting.
Boddington's is remarkable because it has one of the smoothest, nicest drinking experiences and zero taste.
Okay.
And interestingly, every other beer I've tried that is like nitrogen fed, we had some down in Yards recently.
Yeah.
I've had some really nice nitro stouts.
Yeah.
Every other nitro has been bad except. Let's try this and then yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually no, I'll say Carling Black Label is a very famous British Pilsner, which you can't get in America.
Yeah.
They did something called Carling Premier, which was Carling Black Label that was basically with one of these widgets in. That used to be until they were like, we can't sell this, it tastes like shit. That was actually my drink. I would drink it all the time because it was shitty European lager that had this smoothness.
So it's interesting because you described this to a T.
Yeah, it tastes of nothing.
It tastes like nothing. It's literally the most neutral taste, but it's smooth and it's creamy. There is no distinguishable taste.
But it's nice. It's so nice to drink.
Yeah,
it just doesn't taste of anything.
Yeah, it's enjoyable.
But I honestly think, because we've tried nitro IPAs,
Yeah.
we've tried nitro other things,
Right.
and we're like, wow, that tastes horrible. I think Boddington's were like, well, mate, this is a delight to drink, but every time we try to add flavour to it, it tastes fucking disgusting, mate. So like, let's just put some alcohol and brown in it.
So
And sell it.
So two things. One, Boddington's was established in 1778. So at some point they were like, fuck, American Revolution, we better do something. Boddington's. And two, there's a B on a barrel. Do you know what that's about? You were able to explain the rest of it. So I'm...
No, but I think... Oh. Da-da-da. There we go. Doesn't really say anything about the B.
There's a B in your Boddingtons?
Since 1778, when it was first brewed at the Strange Ways Brewery in Manchester, Boddington... I can't do a Manchester accent. Boddington's has been renowned as the unique gold pale ale in English pubs. Served using the traditional hand-pulled method, which is what every English...
So it's interesting. I want to bring up the accent thing to you. Last night I was reading an article. I shouldn't say read an article. I read the first paragraph of an article and realized I was wasting my time because they said that the American accent... I want you to pick up on why I stopped reading this. It may not be... I mean, there's two reasons. The American accent is more close to what Shakespeare's accent was than the current British accent. Now, why do you think I stopped reading that article?
I don't know, but that's an interesting concept because so many words that they use in America were what they used to use in England at the time of the Revolution, and they've remained in America, whereas it's like... so that's an interesting one. But also, you had Noah Webster came in and like standardized American English.
Right.
And it's funny because a lot of people are like, oh, well, American English is like... And I'm like, no, listen, somebody actually sat down and thought about this.
Right.
Whereas British English still hasn't sobered the fuck up.
So, right. So there's two things about that statement. Basically two sides of the same coin. One, there's not a standardized British accent.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
There's like Liverpudlian, there's Manchester,
there's something
Cockney.
called the Queen's English, which
Right.
is the received pronunciation accent, which is what I would think that I have.
Okay.
Which is like, it's meant to be like the newsreader voice.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't, and it's funny because a lot of people have said that my accent is like different things, so I don't even know anymore. I would have thought that my accent would be received pronunciation, but
right, and I think that's the thing is like I have a fairly neutral accent.
Yeah.
Unless I get drunk or I'm in New York, and then I start.
I've noticed because it's interesting. When I moved here, I would not have thought there'd be a difference, but I can distinctly tell the difference between a New York accent and a New Jersey accent.
Yeah.
The other day, there was a guy at the pool who was like, "Hey, how you doing? I like that cut." And I was like, "This is weird. He sounds just like Brandon." He's like, "Yeah, my name's Arthur. I've lived here since '89. I'm originally from Brooklyn."
Right.
It's like, that's crazy.
Yeah. So there's so many different. I mean, like at a Philadelphia accent, like water versus water.
Boston, it's like
Boston is like pack the can, have it, yeah.
It's like you don't wear khaki pants. Khakis are what you use to drive your car.
Right. So I was listening to a comedian who was talking. He's from the Massachusetts area, and he was like, everybody always says like, I pack the can, have it, yeah. Like that's like their go-to like preparation for a Boston accent. He's like, what I would talk about if I were preparing for a Boston accent would be burglars and smugglers. And I'm like, that sounds more. Maybe it's just me doing more of an Australian type of thing. But even like, there's like a Southern accent. But then there's even like regionality to a Southern accent.
Yeah.
There's like a Georgia accent, and there's a Floridian accent. There's an Alabama accent.
Does Florida count as the South? Because it's like you have the South and then you have Florida, which is its own fucking thing.
Florida
is like every single thing where they're like, this only ever happens in America. It's like, no, it only ever happens in Florida.
I remember there was a line in The Lion King where
they talk about all of this belongs to you. What's that dog say?
Well, that too. But they also talked about like every family has one dysfunctional member. Florida is the fucking dysfunctional member of the goddamn United States, and that is like if you just Google Florida man, hours and hours of entertainment.
So Martin came up to me and he was like, "Did you read this? It's a news story about how a guy in Florida got released from prison and stole a car from the prison parking lot to go off." And he was like, "Dad, people in Florida play life like they think it's GTA."
Yeah, it's so insane. I mean, Florida, you gotta get your act together. Anytime something crazy happens, you can guarantee it happened in Florida.
Yeah, because in England they're always like, "Oh, that only happens in America." And I'm like,
no, it only happens in Florida.
It only happens in Florida.
Florida is the Essex of the U.S.
Yeah, and there's even a GIF of Donald Duck soaring Florida off and letting it float out to sea.
That's hilarious.
Right, we should probably wrap this up.
Probably, it's going kind of long. But anyway, screw you, Florida. Nice job, Boddingtons. Brewdog, you were very deceptive, but good job because you got a purchase.
And you know what? Let's just say Boddington's probably doesn't give a shit about us. I'd say Brewdog. I like that. That was good. That was a good American IPA. I don't think it was British style. If you want to know what British style IPA is, hit us up. We'll educate you.
Yeah.
Basically, the first mistake you had was like flavor.
Yeah.
You try and avoid that with British beer generally.
Yeah. Well, anyway, in closing, how would you say? What are our current rankings of beers for the Women's World Cup? Because that's how we got started on these.
Yeah. So I mean, at this moment, I would say the American Crisper Pilsner from 6 Point is
still leading the field.
I think you'd agree.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Would you like better this or Grolsch?
Grolsch.
All right, we'll go Grolsch. So as of now, the U.S. Well, that's good because the U.S. is playing England on Tuesday.
So does this mean England gets knocked out?
Yeah, we'll go England gets knocked out.
Sorry, guys.
Stay tuned for next episode where Grolsch will take on a not so Swedish beer. A not so Swedish, not so beer. You're gonna have to check out the next episode to find out what the fuck I'm talking about. Anyway, cheers. Take it easy.